Merhaba hocam. I'm going to present my object-oriented programming final project. Let me start with the libraries. I start the programming this code with defining these libraries. First is main libraries from C++, main functions, and third one vector I added it because I had need to vector libraries to create a kind of a list, an array. I need to create this one, so I include the vector library, and then I defined this code using namespace standard. It supplies me to the uh, with this I didn't need to write every code from libraries .std. In my project, I have two different class, which is task and task tracker. In this part, the task names, descriptions, and completed, and if it's mandatory or voluntary job, that kind of informations will be uh, defined. In other part of the class tracker, this part of the manageable part of the code, which is you can add new tasks, you can change the completed status if it's completed or not completed, and if you can also there are some conditions to add or change the value of the task. And the third part of the code is main part of the code. In the main part of the code, where the loops are working, where the codes are currently working. Let me start with the first class, which is task. I defined the task class here, and I made it public with this statement. With public statement, I made this class is open to other part of the code, so I can access this this task class by this public statement. And I defined my variables here. I have four variables for whole this code. Name is task name, description is also task description, and I have two boolean data type of variables, which is completed and is mandatory, and these two statements are defines if the task is completed and is or not completed, and this part, this boolean data type is define the task is mandatory or voluntary job. If it's true, I mean 1 it's mandatory, and 0 is it's mean that is voluntary job. And I define here a constructor part. I initialize with this statement the constructor. I put the constructor inside name, description, completed or mandatory, and I match the variables with these statements for all variables. And then I write three print function here for constructor variables. In the first print function, I coded that the name, description, and completed of the task to console. And by this, when the program has started, the tasks add in other part of the code will be shown in the console. And the other print function for index of the task, for to show how much task you have, and also to control while adding or changing the task. I need to create an index for all task. From here I defined the index, and I print in here to index. I will touch this part later. For now, this index creates first, for example, first task makes that index is 1, and the second task makes this index is 2. Its print function is here. And then I created third print function here, and I defined the priority and type defined here. And we can print these informations from here, and these values are matched in other part, tracker part of the class. In this part is just only printing with the cout command. Second class is my class tracker. As I said before, this part is manageable part of the code. In this part what am I doing here? Actually, I'm adding tasks, and I mean the working part is here in class tracker part. Let me go step by step. As a first, I defined the class name is task tracker, and I made it public again here to transfer data to other classes. It allows this statement allows this, and I defined here tasks vector. Why I did define this vector? Because I need an array to collect all the tasks in one list, and I give them an index, so I can manage every task one by one. I mean, whatever I want to manage the task, I can change. I can edit that task easily. Vector allows me to that. And I defined 4 function. Again, they are all void functions, so there will be no data come back from the function to me. First function it's for adding task into the array, as I said before. With this code, you can add new task into the tasks vector. So if you have new task, one task is done, and you want to one more task from interface, this code is working. While I adding task, defining a task, there are, as I said before, there are 4 variables I need to. One of them is name. Of course, task has name, and of course, task has description. And the false means when you add a new task, it has to be start with the uncompleted type, because you cannot add a new task with the completed label. So I made it the false, I mean 0, for the completed part. So when you add a new task, it always start with uncompleted, I mean no. And also mandatory type will be check in other part of the function of this class, and we will see them. And this choose is done by user, by the through interface. Second function, if it's completed or not. For the making this kind of function, we need to check if the chosen index is true or not, because if there are four tasks exist in your task list, and from the interface, if the interface says fifth task is completed, there will be untrue. There is a failure, so we have to check which index has been chosen, and if it's okay, if it's true, then we can change the status of the task completed or not. We can change with this statement. In here, for check, we take from interface index number. It has also, of course, it has to be greater than 0, and we compare the size of our tasks. If the number is more than our task size, we are not give any information outside of the function. In this function, I print all of the tasks from task tracker classes outside of the console, and also I add this printed tasks additional information, which is completed, and if it's mandatory or not. And these two additional information are print here with this function. How many tasks, if we have, all of them are printing in the console. And then the main function. What do we have in main function? We are making add task tracker function inside of the array, actually. So if we have a new task, we are just adding here with this statement. These 5 are added by me as a example to show how the code is run, how the code is compiled. And then other part, we are choosing the additional information, which is if task completed or not. We are marking the task as completed or not, and we are choosing the index here. If I write here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 task. If I choose 6, it will be wrong, because I have 5, and I check in this part if the index number is true or not. And then in here, in the main project, we print all the tasks again here, and with the cout command we label the additional knowledge tasks with additional number. We put this one, the top of the tasks, as a label. And lastly, I put inside one knowledge, one data, the task tracker. So all the tasks tracker with the including additional information will be prints in the console. Lastly, with the return 0 code, if there is no compile error, the program will be successfully executed. Let me show you to my code. Actually, I can compile from here, but there is a problem with the console. Only half of the screen, half of the console is shown, and this part is unshown. So I use online C compiler. There is no problem with the screen, and we can see first class here and additional information, manageable part here. I mean, let me show from here. This is index number, which I create the function index here. From here, I create and print from here, and the names, description, and completed information. And additional information, we add priority and